Hi, this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 99 of the Sophie Art podcast, which is a little podcast that I do about the art and things. And this one is an About the Tings episode, which means I can talk about anything or anything. And what I'm going to talk about on this week's show is negative thoughts. And this one popped into my head this morning when I was recording a video for YouTube, and I got hit with a load of negative thoughts, and I thought, why don't I make this week's topic for the podcast be negative thoughts? So negative thoughts have probably been they've been with me my whole life, and they're still with me now. The only difference is I'm sort of more aware of them, but it does, in a weird way, sometimes I think the more aware you are of them, it seems to be like the worse they get, which you would think it would be the other way around. But that's going to be this week's topic. We've got superstar little Dennis with us, the co-host, and he's quite excited for this one. I wonder if little puppets have negative thoughts. I don't think they do. I also wonder if animals have like negative thoughts and stuff. I always wonder that. Like, does an animal sit there and think, I wonder if somebody thinks I look silly or something. I always wonder that. But that's going to be this week's topic. This is actually technically episode 100, because there was a episode 0, but next week's is episode 100, and I've already recorded it, and it's going to be a little interview with my sister, which was quite funny. We enjoyed it. I hope you enjoy it. It was quite fun. So that kind of goes into this week's topic, really, negative thoughts and stuff. So you can find show notes, I think, for this podcast at sophielawson.com, and I have actually started adding my artwork to the website finally. It took me long enough, I know, but I'm starting to do it, and it looks a lot more simple now. It's just a page of art, whereas before it used to be loads of stuff on there. It's a lot more simple. So I think it's going to be better in the end. Hopefully in about a year's time I can have the site sorted out a little bit. But I've sort of stopped caring about that really. It's not that I don't care, it's that I don't mind that it's broken. Because the site broke a few months ago, and it's probably been the best thing ever, because it's allowed me to let go of needing to update the site and stuff. So that's also, you can also find videos and stuff at youtube.com/Sophie Lawson. And I recorded one today talking about the SBS Learn, what's it called? It's the course called How to Draw Dynamic Folds and Wrinkles with Shauna Tenney. Absolutely love that course. It's, if you want to study how to draw folds and stuff on clothing, really recommend that. So I'll put a little link to that and stuff in the description and everything. But let's get into this one. Little Dennis has started the episode, so he's going to go into his little house. I love his little house. Sitting in his little house, he's going to listen intently. Da, 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 da. So hopefully this one will be a little episode. So what I'll do is I'll just go through the little notes I've got. Yeah, I'll just go through the little notes. So this is what I've thought, because this is quite a big topic really, negative thoughts. Because the thing is, what I've noticed is, I would say the negative thoughts are the most, not necessarily negative thoughts, your thoughts are the most powerful thing ever, because they're not just thoughts, the thoughts are, it's like everyone seems to say, they're creating reality. And if you've got negative thoughts, you're going to be creating negative realities. So I've put here, the first thing I've wrote is, if you go in with negativity, or if you go in with negative thoughts, you're most likely going to get negative results. And it's kind of like that thing, if you're thinking, it's that thing, if you think something about somebody, let's say you look at somebody and you think, well, if you're thinking about, let's say there's a scratch on a car, that's a good example. There's a car with a little scratch on it. If you're putting all your attention on that little scratch, all you're going to see when you look at that car is that little scratch. Whereas everybody else, nobody else is going to notice that scratch. But what's going to happen is, if you've got negative thoughts, you're only going to ever notice the negative things that your thoughts are. So an example for me is I've got two main negative things at the minute. Well, these are the two main ones. One is my voice, which has been with me my whole life really, and the other one is my hair, because I've got like bald patches and stuff. So these are the two things I seem to put all my attention on, and at the minute I can't kind of help it. So if I'm recording these podcasts and my voice cracks, there's a negative thought will just pop into my head. Now I'm not sure, most people may, I'm sure everybody must notice the cracking voices and stuff. Like just then there was a little bit there, but like I would imagine some people won't actually care about it, but because I've got this thing about it, I will notice it. But what happens is, and this is really weird, I've noticed you can actually start making the things that you've got negative thoughts about happen. Like again, you're making it become real. So that's like one of the little things there. But what I've put here is, when I watch back these podcasts, I can always tell when I've got negative thoughts in my head going into the podcast, because it just I can just tell really. So like this morning I was sitting down to do a video, and I don't know why, but I had these negative thoughts. I'd just woken up. It's probably not the best time to do it, but this week there's a lot going on, so I sort of had to do it at that was like the block of time I had to do it. So I had the negative thought of, this isn't the right time to be doing it. And so what was happening was I was putting my attention on my voice, and I was making it worse. It's really weird. So this morning, negative thoughts. This is really cool though. So what happened was, I was in the middle of the video and my voice went quite bad, in my head at least, and I actually stopped recording. No I didn't. I stopped what I was doing, and for about 5 seconds I thought to myself, I've got to restart the whole video now, because I thought I've messed up. In a weird way you could say, this isn't good enough, and I thought I've got to redo the whole thing. So, and then I thought to myself, I said, no, you don't have to. All this is a negative thought. It's trying to, because what they're doing is, I say they as if they're alive or something, because the thing is, these negative thoughts are like an energy, and it does feel like it's a separate energy from me sometimes, almost like a demon. It's quite weird, but so like if those negative thoughts have got power, and if I'd given the power to the negative thought, in that moment I would have stopped recording, I would have restarted the recording, and I know what happens because I've been here so many times. When you restart it, you are now even more like self-conscious about the voice, that you're going to just keep making it worse. You're going to keep restarting, which will make you get more and more frustrated. As you get frustrated, you're going to make more sort of mistakes, if you want to call it that, and then before you know it, you just won't bother recording a video. So the negative thoughts in that moment would have won, because it would have stopped you doing the thing you wanted to do. So I just said, no, I'm not going to do this. And the only reason I was able to do that, this is quite weird, so every morning the first thing I do when I wake up is I do automatic writing, which is where when you're still half asleep, you just pick up a pen and you just start writing. You ask a question, random questions, and you just start writing. And the last thing I always ask is my SMP. It's from the Information, the podcast. They did a little automatic writing course, and SMP stands for single-minded purpose. And what this is it's the one thing you have to focus on today. So I said, what is my SMP for today? And the thing is, you're writing these automatic writings, but you're not really writing them. It's as if something else is writing them. It's like well, for me, it feels like you're connecting with your higher self, or a higher self, really. So this is what it said. And the weird thing is, as I wrote this, it didn't mean anything, really. And then in that moment, when I had that thought of stopping the video, I went back to this, and it all of a sudden it made sense. It's as if it was like linked to that moment. And this is the thing, it's as if It's as if, to me, the higher self is outside of time. It can see the future. It knows what's going to happen. So it's as if it's telling you what to do so that it can help you. Now, the amazing thing is, if that hadn't have happened this morning on that video, I wouldn't have recorded today's podcast, because it would have been about something else. It would have been about entities, like evil entities, because that's what I was going to do. But what my automatic writing said was, it said, go with the flow, let it be. The mind will lie, so listen. Say I hear you, but keep going. Even say it out loud if you need to. Just keep going. That's making me cry thinking about it, because that's like powerful. That is, it's powerful, because it's as if, I love that sound. Listen to that. This is a nice thick book with I love that. It's good sounds. But like that, to me, that is powerful. This is why I think automatic writing is the most important thing you can ever do. You're starting your day like with just connecting with the positivity. Like, to me, it feels like the higher self is positive energy and the mind is negative energies. I'm getting really emotional here. I don't even know why. It's quite weird. And I feel like that the higher self is positive, helping you, and the negative thoughts is a demon to me. It feels like good. It feels like a demon, and the demon is trying to stop you evolving, and the higher self is trying to help you. And the thing is, sometimes you will write something in here, and it will say something to help you, but you just won't, unfortunately, be ready. So something might happen during the day, and then the negative thoughts, they win for that day. But as long as, because before I go to bed I also write about the day, as long as before I go to bed I write and say, look, I had a negative thought today and unfortunately it got the better of me. If you keep doing this, in the end you're going to beat the negative thoughts, beat them as if it's a war. It feels like a war sometimes. But something Muji says, who is this week's inspirational quote, he's got this week's inspirational quote. Something Muji says, which I absolutely love this. He says, the mind is not your friend until it is your friend. Something like that. In other words, the mind, with these negative thoughts, even though it's negative, it's actually super positive. Because what it's doing is, it's a positive in disguise of negative. Because what it's actually doing is, it's allowing you to grow. These negative thoughts, because if you didn't have these negative thoughts, there would be no reason to keep pushing. It's almost like, it's weird. It's like the negative thoughts are somehow helping you grow, even though they're negative. It's very weird. But I've put down here, yes, this is also something else Muji says. Muji is, to me, I think everybody needs Muji in their life. I'm going to link to him in the description. You can find him on YouTube. Just type in MOOJI, Muji. Listen to Muji, and you can feel Muji feels like a god channeling as a human. He is powerful, he is. So listen to him, and if you listen to him, he will help change your life, I think. But he says, expose the thoughts. In other words, what happens a lot is people, because what he does is he sits at the front, and all these people come up and they're asking for, like, how can I meditate and silence the mind and stuff. And Muji just is helping these people listen to the mind, really, and silence the thoughts. But what happens a lot is people will come up and they will just say something, they will just say out loud a negative thought, expose it, because I've put here, if you expose the negative thought, and you expose it by talking about it, that's giving the power to you, and it takes the power away from the negative thought. If you don't expose it, it's almost like you're suppressing it. If you're suppressing it, it's gaining power. Again, like this morning, if I hadn't have said anything in the middle of that video, I would have suppressed what I was feeling, and then the negativity would have kept growing, and the negative would have had the power. but instead you get the power back. So my two main negative thoughts at the moment is my hair and my voice, and I've also got another one, which is this is a powerful negative thought at the minute. It's about interviewing guests on a podcast. So in my automatic writing, again, let's just say my higher self or whatever it is that's writing, because sometimes I'm not writing these things. I can always tell when it's me writing and when it's something else writing. And it said that this here, it said to me about interviewing guests on the podcast, and I just said, as soon as it said that, I said, I can't do that. Are you having a laugh, sort of thing? But it's just kept saying it, and this is the thing. What it does is it will keep telling you what you need to do. But like the thought is it's terrifying me, the thought of doing that. But what I've done is I've started trying to do it by, like, next week's podcast, I'm interviewing my sister, which is, it's a start, you know. It's a start. It's the best I can do at the minute. That sounds a bit weird. It's just I really want to be interviewing artists and stuff. It's just I'm scared. I'm scared, but I've got to do it. And that's basically it. But like what I'm saying is, expose the negative thoughts. That's really the message of this podcast, I think, is expose the negative thoughts. Little Dennis. I've got down here a list of things. These are the things that just popped into my head. So I said to myself, if I had listened to the negative thoughts, I would never have quit my job of 12 years. So I quit my job of 12 years. This is something else that's amazing as well. Let's say, like, especially with this automatic writing, you might write in here and it might say, for instance, you need to quit your job. And it feels like I can't do that. So then, but what if you can get yourself to a place where you say to yourself, I'm going to quit my job. The minute you just ask whatever, just say out loud, you know, let me be able to quit my job, or help me quit my job. And what will happen is, and this is where like the synchronicities come in, what will happen is that it's as if, again, like the higher self, it's as if something comes in and starts helping you. Yeah. So what happened for me was, I had decided that I was going to quit my job, and I had set up a little plan that I was going to save up my money for 3 years. There was a certain amount of money that I was going to save up, and then what was going to happen was, I was going to quit my job. But this is what happened. I went into work, I can't remember the exact dates, but it was literally weeks within making that decision, and they offered voluntary redundancy. And this is what's amazing. The amount that I got was the exact amount that I was going to save up. And this is the sort of synchronicities that will happen. So when that happened, it was like, to me, it was like a sign. I have to quit my job. And the thing is, ever since I quit that job, like, my life it's got a lot harder in places, but it's just gone so much better and so much more, almost like facing fears and stuff. I am such a completely different person since quitting that job, and I would never have done it if I had listened to the negative thoughts, because the negative thoughts would have kept me there, because I did feel a bit like I was trapped there. If I had also listened to negative thoughts, I would never have started this podcast. Again, something was saying to me, you got to start this podcast, for years, and I just kept saying, I can't do it. There's no way I can do it, I kept saying. And then one day I finally did it. Again, like another synchronicity, I've just thought of this. The week that I started the podcast, I started lucid dreaming, and that's been amazing. Really powerful for facing fears and stuff. It's incredible. Another one, if I listened to the negative thoughts, I would never have started putting my face on the camera. And I've still got the weird thing where I can't, I say I can't, but I can, but there's a negative thought that stops me looking directly into the camera. So I need to start helping, I need to start putting the awareness on looking into the camera. So that's another little thing I need to work on. But again, it's like a fit. If somebody had said to me 4 years ago, you'd have been putting your face on camera, it would have been impossible. But it started by me writing on my website, putting myself out there on the website. Then it went into the audio, and then it went into the videos. So what happens is you do a little bit, which is going against a negative thought, and you realise you can do it. It gives you the confidence to do something a bit better or a bit more scary, which has got an even bigger negative thought. You do that, and then what will happen is, in the end, there will be no there's always going to be negative thoughts, I think. But the thing is, they won't have any power, because you won't be afraid of them anymore. You will be fearless, I think. I think that's what Muji is. I think Muji is fearless. I think he must still have negative thoughts flowing through his brain or his mind, but I think he just realises that they are separate from him. So, like, the scariest thing could come in front of him, even manifest as a physical entity, which goes into I really want to talk about these entities, because I think they are linked to these negative thoughts. I think your negative thoughts are so powerful that they can actually manifest entities, not just in dreams and meditations, but in the physical reality, which is quite weird. So, and then another one, if I listened to the negative thoughts, I would not have been me. I wouldn't have been me, because negative thoughts kept me as Kevin for like over 38 years. For over 38 years, I didn't believe that I could be Sophie. It was saying you're not good enough to be. Well, it was just saying you can't do it. I never even allowed myself the thought that I could transition into Sophie. And again, I had to do that in little baby steps as well. It's like the thought of going to work as me, as Sophie, with makeup and stuff, it seemed impossible. But what I did was I broke it into little tiny things. So I started wearing clear nail varnish, still as Kevin. Once I did that, I thought, right, let's try something else. And so then I started wearing girls' shoes, then girls' trousers. And again, you keep doing it, and in the end, you say, you know what? There will come a point where you can just make that. It's almost like it is like a switch flicks, and suddenly you could do. I was going to say you can do anything, maybe, but it's very powerful, and it's amazing how these little baby steps, these little tiny things which seem insignificant. I can remember. I go back to my diary, I read through my diary sometimes, and I remember I was terrified of going out wearing clear nail polish as Kevin, because I thought everybody would be looking at it. Again, it goes right back to what I said at the start of the podcast. It was probably only me that was looking at it, because I was aware of it. Nobody else probably even noticed it. So again, the mind was saying, everyone's going to look at your nails, so I would say, I can't do it then. So then I would never have gone out wearing the nail polish. If I hadn't done that, I would never have transitioned into who I am now. So you've got to start with these little tiny things. It's, again, it feels like, how can that little thing, how would that be able to help me become this thing? But it happens. It's quite amazing. So that's basically this week's podcast. I think there's something in there, because negative thoughts are negative thoughts. They feel so real. That's the thing. They feel like they are reality, but they're not. Yeah, they're not. You have to do experiments. You have to do experiments, but you have to pick your experiments. Like I said, going out wearing clear nail polish instead of wearing, say, pink nail polish. That was a little experiment that was scary, but I felt like I could do it, so I did it. And then the next thing, I started wearing pink nail polish, and then you just do these little experiments. Sometimes you'll do an experiment and it will feel like it's too much, but you learn from it. You say, that's a bit too scary at the minute, so then you pull it back a bit. But even the scary one, when it doesn't work out as you hoped, you've still got a positive thing there, because you tried. So at least you tried, and you can sort of say, well, okay, I'm too scared to do that in a minute, but at least I give it a go. It's better than nothing to give it a go. That's basically it, really. So you can find show notes and everything at sophielawson.com, and you can find videos at youtube.com/sophielawson. There's another thing here. This is sort of another synchronicity. In about 3 or 4 months' time, hopefully I'll have quit one of my jobs, and what it's going to allow me to do is I'm going to have one day dedicated to the website. So my little website is definitely, by the end of the year, I'm hoping it will be at the stage it's in my head, because at the moment it's still broken, but it's getting better, so that's quite good. It's getting better. But all we've got left here is this week's inspirational quote, and it goes to my beautiful friend Muji. This week's inspirational quote is, this is probably the most beautiful quote I've ever read, I think. It says, "Your heart is the light of this world. Don't cover it with the mind." Love you, Muji. Muji. And now for a spot of drumming. Actually, it's amazing how relaxing this is. Sometimes I'll sit here for half an hour just going.